Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Goldi Luxe Podcast. I am your host, Cynthia, and in today's episode, we're going to be reviewing. I'm just so used to doing like the makeup tutorials. We're not going to be reviewing anything. We're just going to be chit-chatting, talking about stuff that happened recently. Consider subscribing below. If you are listening on Spotify, please hit the follow button. It'll help my podcast grow immensely. And yeah, that would make me very happy. Thank you so much. I'd give you a virtual hug. But anyways, thanks for being here. Let's get right to it. All right, so Mother's Day was last weekend, and at least in Mexico, Mother's Day is celebrated May 10th, I think it is, and also my mom's birthday was May 8th, so that was very exciting, and yeah, it's just a great time to celebrate my mom for everything she does and whatnot. She is a phenomenal woman, a great person, and I'm just really happy to have her as my mother and to have had her, especially during like my childhood. She was just really great. So shout out, Mom, love you so much. Yeah, so it was like a double whammy. Every year is always a double whammy in terms of celebrating my mom on this particular weekend, because like I said, it's her birthday and Mother's Day. So yeah, I mean, honestly, this year it was really just very chill. We went on a really nice, calming hike, and it's a very popular hike here in the Pacific Northwest. It's the Rattlesnake Ledge, and it's just a very beautiful, scenic route to get to this ledge that overlooks this beautiful, bright blue, glacier blue lake that is at the bottom of this like mountainous area. I believe it's in the Snoqualmie area here in Washington State. Washington has just amazing hikes. I would say I think Washington hikes might be just a little bit nicer than Oregon hikes. Like, that's how nice the Washington scenic foresty areas are. Definitely nicer than what Twilight makes it look like. Washington is prettier than that, much prettier than that, especially during the summertime. So we went to Rattlesnake Ledge, and it was like a steep hill, right? It was very uphill, with a lot of rocks and whatnot. But the reason I chose it was because it was just a really good hike for the whole entire family, for beginner friendly, right? Because I believe out of all the hikes that I was looking at here in the Washington State area, that was the shortest. So it was 2 miles uphill, 2 miles downhill, and it was like the least amount of what's it called, elevation gain, right? Even though we were climbing up like at a steady, legit like 30 to 45 degree angles with some breaks. Like, it did like stabilize, but it would always just keep going up. It was still kind of challenging, and I would consider myself kind of like moderately fit at this moment. I'm not at my fittest right now, but that's okay because we were all able to make it, and it was just so pretty, and it was just very enjoyable to have like the whole family there. I even had a chance to bring my dog with me, Tyson. He loved the hike. He loves being outdoors. He loves being around people and everything. He's just an outdoor dog. He's a really, really good dog, even though he's a pit bull and there's like negative stigma against his breed. He's an amazing good boy. But yeah, so we were all together climbing up the mountain, and it was really nice. I enjoyed the view. You could really see like the elevation game as time passed, and I don't know, I just, it makes me realize that I have not spent that much time outdoors, at least hiking wise. When I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, I would always go hiking. It was one of my absolute favorite things to do in the springtime, the summertime, even the wintertime. I really enjoyed it. Or not winter, I would say like fall going into wintertime. I've definitely been on some hikes here, especially with my group of friends from high school. We went on some snowy hikes. I do not recommend that, especially if you don't have the right gear to go up a mountain without proper shoes. So, anyways, this was nothing like that. This was just very enjoyable, even though it was challenging. It was nice. And my mom loved it. She was like, just really enjoying the hike. It was challenging for her because she's not like super super duper like an active person, but she definitely enjoyed it. It's actually what she requested to do for Mother's Day. She's like, I want to go on a hike, and we did that. We did that for her because she specifically wanted to do that. And I think it's because early on, we as a family, we would always, when we were younger, both my brother and I, we would go out on a lot of family outings. Like, we would go to Ocean Shores on the 4th of July, which, by the way, I definitely recommend. It's like the west coast, the actual west coast of Washington state. And there's this long, giant, flat beach that like people line up their cars, and as far as you can see all throughout the beach, people just light up fireworks. All like miles and miles of beaches, all you see is like fireworks, and it just lights up the whole entire sky. And like the fireworks show is legit. It's one of the best fireworks shows that I have ever seen pretty much anywhere in Washington. So we definitely are really big fans of Ocean Shores, which is also kind of nearby Forks, which is where Twilight was filmed. And yeah, there's a lot to enjoy in Washington. I just feel like because I've lived here my whole entire life, I have done so much of what there is to do in this state that I feel like, like I feel like I would be way more excited around being in a new state and having new places to visit and hike and go out. I don't know. I like to really just be out and explore, or one day have an adventure and like venture out into the wilderness, not by myself, but like popular places to go out and hike, whatever. But anyways, going back to our family hike, it was nice. We got to the ledge, we snapped some pictures. Honestly, I have been to Rattlesnake Ledge before, and I loved it, but because I was with my dog and it was his first time like getting to this ledge where there's no fence. People can just literally like just sit on the edge, and God forbid anybody like falls over. Oh my God, knock on wood. I definitely kept my dog on a leash and like far away from the ledge, but we still got to snap some really cool pics. My dad really enjoyed it. It really brought out his like youthful like kind of daredevil side, because he was making my mom kind of nervous. He was just like exploring the rock, exploring the ledge. But yeah, I would say the way down was a lot more enjoyable, not just because for me it was easier to just climb down rather than hike up. I felt like it was easier. My mom didn't. She was like, oh, like my quads hurt going down the hill, which makes sense. But the reason why it was enjoyable for us was because we had a really nice conversation. We haven't talked like that openly about the old times that we've had, about her youthful days with my dad. Like, she shared some really nice stories, like about meeting my dad and getting to know him in a small town. We spoke about my grandmother, may she rest in peace, just like stories from way back then. And I don't know, it just felt very nostalgic, and so it was really really enjoyable going down the mountain and just having some really nice quality family time. I even got to share with her the dream that I had about my grandmother, may she rest in peace. It was so crazy because it just felt so real. And I had this dream during a time that I think it was last year, that I was having a really, really, really hard time emotionally, mentally. It was just kind of, I would say, an overall dark place for me where I was around this time. So just kind of like those hopeless feelings, just feeling really, really sad. And I had this dream one night, and it was my grandmother, and she looked over at me, and she looked exactly how I remembered her. She was wearing like her glasses, and she was smiling. I remember very like vividly in the dream that she looked over at me and she smiled, and she just looked so real that I was kind of like taken aback, I guess, because she was just standing right in front of me. She was like right here, right in front of me. And I reached out to her, and I reached out like her arm, and I squeezed her arm, and I felt actual flesh in my dream. Like I felt her right here, my grandmother's elbow area. It was kind of like a softer area for her. So like I knew exactly what it felt like from my childhood. So when in my dream, when I squeezed her elbow, and like I felt that flesh, like I really felt the squeeze of the flesh, I was like really taken aback, because like it was her real skin. I felt her skin, her flesh. Like I knew she was right there in front of me. Like I don't know if it was some telepathic thing, or she's definitely an angel in the sky watching over me, because she was right there. She was right in front of me. She let me touch her. I felt what seemed like her real skin. But yeah, it was just so like amazing that it felt like a legit apparition, right? Or at least in my dream. I don't know what you would call that, but she was there. But anyway, shout out to my grandma, Mama Florita. She's definitely up in heaven watching over me, and I thank her a lot for that, because sometimes I feel like I really do need it. We live in a very crazy, wild, dangerous world, and you never really know when you might need someone out there, I don't know if you believe in that, but I certainly do believe in that. But yeah, I shared that dream with my mom, and she was like, really? Like, I've seen her in my dreams, but I've never had like a hug, or I've never touched her. I don't know why that would be, but my mom was just so surprised that I was like, Mom, I'm telling you, like I felt her real skin, like her flesh. I felt it when I reached out to her and squeezed, and it was amazing. But yeah, so once we got to the bottom, everything was chill. We had some really good quality family time. We ended up getting some burgers afterwards. We were so hungry. And we forgot to pack like our lunch. We were gonna make sandwiches, but we just forgot. So anyways, we were looking for this very, very popular restaurant. It's called Triple X Burgers. I know it's kind of a weird name, but this is like an legit old school restaurant here in the Snoqualmie area. I think it's in Sammamish, I think it is, which is not too far from Seattle. It's east, but yeah, it was like probably built in like the 50s or the 60s, and it was like a very large, very old school restaurant that had all of these, that used to have like car shows, of like old school car shows every single summer, and it was just like a very big attraction, I would say, big tourist attraction. It wasn't just local. People loved their burgers, and the inside of it was like a collector's dreams, because you walked into that restaurant and it felt like legit, like you were back in time, like you walked into a time machine, and it was just covered with like 1960s style, what would you call it, not furnishings, but just like that like music box. There would be like a bike, and like a whole entire 1960s bike. Like the walls were just completely covered with like 1950s, 1960s like memorandum, and people would they would allow people to sign like dollars and like paste them on the restaurant, and people will leave their high school ASB cards, like their high school ID cards, like posted up on this restaurant, and this restaurant was just covered, and it was amazing. They had the absolute best root beer floats. They were like that big. It was like a huge root beer float, and it was just so good, and the burgers were like enormous. It was just the perfect burger joint you could ever think of and imagine. It had so much character, and I am so sad that it was permanently closed. Like, honestly, if I had big dough money like that, I would legit buy out this restaurant. Like, there's no way I would I would like chain myself to the door had I known they were like thinking of like tearing it down or closing it. It's just a really, really sad day. And I will never, ever forget Triple X Burgers because that was just a really great place to be. I loved it. So, considering the very sad news that it had permanently closed, we ended up just going to Red Robin's, and it was still really good. Everybody enjoyed their food. I would say underrated because I used to always go to the Red Robin's in my hometown, which is Linwood, Washington, and like always the food there would always just be mid. It would always be mid. Ever since I was in high school and we would visit that restaurant, that Red Robin's, with my girlfriends at the time in high school, like I never really enjoyed the food as much as I did with this other Red Robin's that we went to, which was like 20 miles south of where I grew up. But yeah, it was just an overall legit really good time. So that's what we did for Mother's Day. And when we got home, we were going to watch a movie, but everyone was so tired that we just ended up just going straight to bed, basically. But we enjoyed our time, and it was a really amazing day. We haven't had a family day like that in a long, long while. But yeah, so that happened. Oh, that happened on May 10th. But on May 11th, the first Monday in May, it was the Met Gala. So that was something that I was really looking forward to seeing because, like, I have always adored, loved fashion. I have loved fashion so much throughout my childhood and throughout my youth that I actually believed that I was going to go to a fashion school. I wanted to be a whole entire fashion designer. And early on in my tweens, I think I was like 7. No, I must have been like 18 at this time. Yeah, because we were looking at different colleges, and my mom, bless that woman, I love her so much. She drove me and my brother and his friend. We drove on this tiny little red Ford Focus that we used to have, and we drove all the way down to San Francisco so that I could have a tour of this school in San Francisco, of this fashion school, because I was like so infatuated with fashion at the time. I didn't have as much money in high school as I do now. I was just working like my little part-time job, minimum wage, high school stuff, right? But I would still like really use my fashion sense and really mix it up to be able to create new outfits with the clothes that I already had and probably had worn all throughout the school year, right? Like, my family wasn't rich, so even though yes, we did get new clothes every single school year, it wasn't like every season we were buying clothes. Like, you know what I mean? We were comfortable. I used to have my subscription to 17 magazine, and every single month I would have my 17 magazine, and I would just really look forward to opening the glossy pages and like looking over what the fashion trends were at the time. And I would even like cut up all of these pages, and I would do like a whole entire collage. In high school, I covered my whole entire wall from my 17 magazine cutouts, and it included like models and like very artistic fashion shoots and a bunch of like different fashion outfits. I posted all of these fashion inspiration outfits from my 17 magazine, and I put it all over my closet door, so I would have like different ideas on how to like mix up my clothes to just create fashion and just feel good about myself. Clothes and fashion and like art, it always allowed me to just feel like myself. It made me feel good. It made me feel happy to be rocking like a cool outfit. I would always do my makeup in high school. I would always do my hair. I would wake up an hour before I had to leave for school just so that I could straighten my hair and put on my winged liner. Like I never ever went bareface ever to school, not even in middle school. I would still like sneak a little eyeliner in school. I would like go into the bathroom and like take out this like busted black eyeliner that I had definitely overworn. It was just like worn out and dull, but I would still do like my little black around the eyes. And then at the end of my middle school day, I would on the actual bus, I would grab a little lotion and Q-tips, and I would just like go ham and just do my best to take off all this black makeup so that my mom wouldn't see me, because she wanted me to wait until I was 15 to just start wearing makeup. And this was back in like, it was a long time ago, 2008, 2009, no, 2007, 2008, mostly '08 was kind of when I was starting to like sneak a little eyeliner and whatnot. But anyways, I've always cared about my looks and my appearance. And mind you, back then I weighed quite a bit more and I was much younger. I feel like I didn't grow up pretty. And this was during the time when Transformers first came out and Megan Fox was like the it girl. She's still the it girl, but you know, back then she was like the it girl. This was way before the Kim Kardashian days. And so considering that, this was this beautiful, like amazingly beautiful, skinny young woman that like all the boys wanted and all the girls wanted to be like that was kind of like that set the bar, I guess. She was like, I don't know, but considering that was what was on my TV during my early teen years, I didn't feel like I was her. I felt like way less attractive, and I was, you know, definitely not her same weight. Anyways, because I looked different back in my early youth than I do now, I would say I really cared about my appearance because I just wanted to feel good about myself. I didn't always feel good about my weight. I didn't always feel good about my teeth. I wore braces for like 5 years. I don't even remember anymore, but I think it was on the longer end, probably 5 years. But I wore braces for a really long time because I actually used to have a little bit of an underbite. So when I would smile, I wouldn't like close my mouth all the way because my teeth would be like this if I close my mouth all the way. So I would just smile like that. Anyways, I just wasn't like super duper confident, and fashion was always kind of like my way to express myself, to feel pretty, to feel seen. I always treated like high school like it was kind of a little bit of a fashion show, right? And yeah, that was me. So all of that aside, I kind of went on a tangent. My love for fashion just makes me anticipate and want to see all of the Met Gala. And some years the theme is pretty whack, and like the fashion is not really hitting like that. But this year, the theme this year was fashion is art. And boy, did people not disappoint this time around. People really brought it. They came in with their best. Everyone came in with like different themes, like people that were like Indian royalty. They brought like their beautiful Indian, gosh, I forgot. I don't want to get this wrong, but like their authentic Indian traditional outfits. And it was just so beautiful. This woman was like legitimately was decked out in diamonds. Like she probably had the most expensive outfit out of all these people because she was just covered in all of these beautiful expensive gems and diamonds. And she was like, oh yeah, like these diamonds, she connected them to her top. And she was like, yeah, this one I got for when my son was born, and this one I got when I got married. She was just covered. She's Indian royalty, you know, but she was decked out. But yeah, like it was legit amazing. And I loved all the outfits. I was just blown away by everybody's like artistic interpretation of fashion is art. It was just so exciting. I think it's so exciting. Fashion is so exciting. And like I said before, I was really almost sold on the idea back in my early days that I wanted to become a fashion designer. And I would like sketch out little outfits and I would try to make them like very like artistic. I was like actually thinking about being a fashion designer, which by the way, I would have had to learn how to be like a seamstress first, how to like put clothes together in order for me to like do my fashion or even think about having a fashion house. I don't know how I would have felt about that, dressing a mannequin. I don't know if I would have been able to do that in my early teen days, but who knows? Maybe I would have been good at it. Nevertheless, I still have tons and tons of admiration and love for anything art, and fashion is right up on the scale for me in terms of art that I love. But yeah, so Met Gala, yeah, I love the theme this year. Last year or a couple of years ago, the theme was like structure or something like, and everybody came to the Met Gala with like super structured suits, like man suits. Even the women were wearing like man suits, and I really didn't like the theme that year during the Met Gala. But I did really love that one year where the last year that Lady Gaga showed up to the Met Gala, the theme was what was the theme? It was like this dramatic word that meant that you were just being like dramatic in fashion. And Lady Gaga, like she had like 15 minutes to herself, and she did like a bunch of different layers of fashion. Like she would shed one outfit and she would show this one, and then she would shed other pieces of her outfits and she would have in a whole entirely different outfit underneath. That was really fun, and that year people really brought it to. Everyone was like very very fun, very artistic, very like dramatic is the word that I'm looking for. The fashion that year was very dramatic when Lady Gaga went, and she turned it up because let's be real, this is Lady Gaga, okay? This is a woman that wore that meat dress to the VMAs that one year and shocked the world. So I was pretty sad that Lady Gaga was not at the Met Gala this year, but I'm sure she had her reasons. And by the way, I want to pause on all the amazing fashion that I want to talk about, but there was a lot of controversy about the Met Gala this year, because this year the Bezos, Jeff and his wife, were sponsoring the Met Gala, and along with a couple of other billionaires. I think Elon Musk was another sponsor of the Met Gala or something like that, but I'm not really sure. But I know for sure that Jeff Bezos and his wife were like sponsoring the gala, and they were being like the host. They had they were very involved in the Met Gala this year, and people, especially the people of New York, they were protesting Jeff Bezos. They were protesting Amazon, how he treated his Amazon workers. I even heard that some like very dramatic protesters, they filled these water bottles with yellow water to represent urine, and these protesters spread out all of these water bottles throughout the Met Gala. That the museum that hosts the Met Gala, they spread them out, and it was kind of like a very dramatic protest because all the water bottles were filled with yellow water that represented urine. The reason for that is because allegedly Amazon just works their workers to the bone, that the employees basically don't really have time to have bathroom breaks. So they just kind of have to, do what they do and keep working like they're robots. And so this was just incredibly dramatic to kind of do this very nasty protest. I mean, I'm okay with the protest, but like the way they went about it was just too literal for my liking, you know, but whatever. A protest is a protest. And a group of people, I think they're union workers or people that tried to do union work at one of the Amazon warehouses, they projected this message by one of the union leaders. She was a black elderly lady, and she was broadcasting her message to Jeff Bezos. But the thing is, they broadcasted this video and they pasted it projector style on Jeff Bezos' New York condominium. I don't know if that's the one that he was staying at for the Met Gala, because let's be real, Jeff Bezos probably owns like a gazillion buildings in New York City, but they posted the projector on that building and people were like, on social media, everyone was like, wow, like that's so savage, like I hope he sees it. And they were blasting like the audio on speakers on the street. You could hear like not only could you see the video, but you could also hear it because there were a speaker somewhere. And I saw this on Threads. It was kind of trending on Threads, but there was like a whole entire citywide protest against the Met Gala this year due to the fact that it was kind of sponsored by billionaires. People were like, oh, Met Gala used to be all about fashion, now it's all about giving like the cool cards to billionaires so that they can feel important, da 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 da. People, especially with the way like the economy is going right now, with a lot of people being squeezed to their last dime in order to make ends meet and feed their families, like buy food. People were just really not connecting. They were just not, they were not connecting with this year's Met Gala, especially being filled, like jam-packed with all of these billionaires, right? People were not really messing with that. Like the whole public outcry was like, people already felt like Met Gala was like always out of touch with the current Americans' reality, right? And some people went as far as to say that it was like a modern day like Hunger Games, as the Met Gala being all of the people from the Capitol in the Hunger Games, just like super detached, like woo, like up in the air, not really knowing what's going on, all of that. Yeah, this year it really did not resonate that all the billionaires were there, and so people were like, I'm not gonna watch Met Gala this year, yada yada yada. Anyways, the fashion was art. It really was. And one of my absolute favorite outfits was by this it was a very popular singer, pop star from Asia. I definitely forgot her name, but her outfit was like 3D printed arms. It was her arms 3D printed, and the arms were holding up her what's it called, this veil that went over her, and she had a beautiful glitzy glamorous dress. It was like very sparkly, and her arms were down here, and then the other arms, the 3D printed arms, were holding up the veil, and it just looked so incredibly good. Like it was just so beautiful. And I also saw a dress that was like bubbles. It was like covered in translucent bubbles. It was a new dress with covered in like plastic bubbles, but there was a tiny little hole that released actual bubbles. So the dress had actual bubbles surrounding it, and it was just so theatrical and dramatic, and it was amazing. Like that is art. That was really exciting. And one of my absolute favorite fashion designers, Robert Woon, this who creates very mysterious and very amazing legitimate works of art. He had some really amazing fashion shows. I would say this last year and a half, his shows have been just all over Instagram, like all over my Instagram feed. He's been making a statement with his artwork. And so Robert Woon, there were multiple pieces of his collection in the Met Gala this year, and people just really came prepared. There was one celebrity that had one Robert Woon outfit, and it was like the one that represented rain. She took it off, and she was wearing the muscle piece that was from one of his very recent fashion shows, where it was like the human muscle, and you could see all of like the different muscle parts. And there were two models walking side by side, and one of them was representing the skin, and there was a bunch of threads connecting their two outfits as they were walking down the runway, and the other model was in the actual muscle outfit. That was just amazing. Like, who thinks of that? That is so creative, that is dramatic, that is art. So I'm glad the muscle fit made it to the Met Gala, because it's definitely really worth it, and a lot of other Robert Woon's creations made it too. Sierra was amazing. Like, her outfit, she said that she was inspired by Nefertiti, because Nefertiti was a very powerful woman, and she always thought about her empire before anything, and she was a great leader. Like, Sierra's hair and outfit at the Met Gala, both her and Russell Wilson were amazing. They look so freaking good. They legit looked like royalty, and they were by no means the richest couple in that environment. Like, not by a long shot. Like, we're talking like royalty were here from India, and billionaires were there, yada yada yada. But the Wilsons definitely made a statement with their outfits. Like, Russell looked so good in his white outfit that matched the Nefertiti theme that Sierra had picked out. I just adore Sierra. She's like my queen. I begged her to please buy me the Sierra Goodies album, and back then people were still buying CDs. This was a really big CD time in my early teens. So needless to say, like, Sierra's Goodies, One Two Step, Oh featuring Ludacris, like, those were my jams back in the day. And so I have always loved Sierra. I would say she's like my queen number 2, coming after Beyonce, because I was a big Beyonce stan back in my early teens. Like, the music that Beyonce was putting out back then, like, she ate with that music, Beyonce. But anyways, speaking of Beyonce, this is a really good transition. Beyonce showed up with a giant glitzy skeleton looking outfit with a huge enormous crown, because she's a queen and she knows it, and this long train, and she looked amazing. Like, and she's just drop dead gorgeous. She has an amazing fashion team, and her outfit was like legit super super cool. Why did she choose to do like kind of a skeleton themed outfit? I don't really know, because she could have just gone with like a whole full entire like long dress covered in Swarovski crystals if she wanted to, you know, but I guess she just wanted to be like more dramatic with the theme. She looked amazing, and she was there with Blue Ivy, who'd also looked super cool. Did not want to take off her glasses, even though her dad asked her to. I wasn't a big fan of Jay-Z showing up to the Met Gala, just because I feel like there's been more than enough controversy around Jay-Z and like who he affiliates himself with, and just too much controversy for my liking. And like, I wouldn't want to show my face in public if I were him, but I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion. What else? I loved Tyla's outfit. Tyla was she said she was inspired by like a peacock, and she looked so freaking good. She looked hot, and her outfit was stunning. Like, she was made for that outfit, and that outfit was made for Tyla. I'm not a huge fan of her music. Like, I guess I don't really seek out her music, but she's popular, and this is her second year in the Met Gala. I think it was her a few years ago that showed up in like a stone dress, and she needed to have like assistant. There were two men that had to like literally like carry her dress up and her in it while she was in the dress, and like carry her up the stairs of the Met Gala so people could capture all of these pictures of her outfit. It was kind of funny, but very creative nonetheless. So Tyla killed it at the Met Gala. And there was also a little bit of like gossip and controversy on Instagram threads, because I guess Tyla went out and like posted a video of her being like, oh yeah, like I walked up and saw Rihanna, or went up to Rihanna and was like, hi girl. And she just kind of like, and she said that, oh, I'm gonna go look for my man. Oh. And Tyla said, oh, in her video. Like, she was kind of taken aback that Rihanna kind of had like pretty much brushed her off, like, don't want to talk to you. But some fans on the comment section were saying like, oh, Tyla like allegedly said that she wanted to be like bigger than Rihanna or this and that. But I don't think Rihanna would be petty about anything like that, because Rihanna's a billionaire and she has like a whole career that like speaks for her, you know. She has a portfolio, if you will. So yeah, Rihanna doesn't have to prove anything. I think more so she just didn't want to like kind of entertain this like Gen Zer. People are kind of commenting on each other about this little petty drama on Instagram. Some people were saying like, oh well, Tyla is like a Gen Zer, you know, and like Rihanna probably just didn't want to affiliate herself or have to entertain like this kid, you know, in her eyes, Rihanna's eyes, like to entertain this kid. But yeah, Rihanna looked super gorgeous, like always. Obviously she has an incredible team working for her, because she looked legit. She looked amazing. Her outfit was like a representation of an oyster, and she just looked so beautiful. Rihanna has the prettiest eyes. Like, I love her, and I love her like sassiness too. But yeah, like the internet caught her and A$AP Rocky kind of like, it seemed like arguing in the band, like on the way out of the Met Gala. But to each their own. Like, Rihanna, you know, she's a sassy girl. She's like, oh no 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 no, she's sassy. A$AP Rocky, he just has to take all that sass because that's his girl. People on socials were like, oh my god, like they're arguing, like are they gonna break up, like do you think it was Tyla that caused them to argue? Like, just legit a mess, you know. So I just like clicked out of that. I was like, whatever, dude. But yeah, maybe Tyla was being just a tad bit immature and just a little petty for posting that Brianna had brushed her off at the Met Gala on socials. Like, not everybody has to acknowledge you. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're a big deal enough to make it to the Met Gala, but like, dude, you gotta earn your stripes in the industry. It's what it seems. I did feel like the Met Gala did have a little too much commentary going on, like too many interviews happening all at once. I kind of just wanted to not pause so much and just be focused on the fashion. But Cara Delevingne, along with this other influencer, I don't know what to call her, entertainer, were doing like interviews. They were like co-hosting with this other girl. Her name is Lala, and I'm sure she's like an LA socialite, because she knew the Kardashians. She looked like she was friends with the Kardashians. Yeah, so I think Lala, she did a really good job hosting and interviewing, and everyone loved her. Like, all of the guests that were walking at the gala, they really liked and enjoyed talking to her. And she was a good time. She seemed like a very genuine young woman. But then there was also the other co-host, Cara, and the other woman. They were also doing interviews, I think, before people walked on the Met Gala, and Lala was doing the after interviews after people had walked the Met Gala, and snapped their photos and everything. But yeah, it was just too much commentary, too much talking for me. At some points, they had to split screen the whole entire screen, because the Met Gala was being live streamed on Vogue, and like half of it was on the Vogue app, which was kind of goofy. Just post a whole entire thing on YouTube, you know what I mean? But to each their own, whatever. And it had like 44 million views. Like a lot of people tuned into the Met Gala live stream, even though it was getting a lot of hate. So many people saw the live stream. I think it was probably, I kid you not, I think it was like the number one viewed video of the day, of that day, probably. So yeah, too many interviews for my liking. I would have preferred, oh, the point that I was making is that they had to split the screen into like thirds and sometimes four like different like pictures, videos, because they had cameras everywhere in the Met Gala. It was too much. Like if you have to split the screen between the people walking the Met Gala and then all the interviews happening at one time, and then the other picture camera of like the guests that are just starting to arrive, like it was too much. It was too much going on. I wish they would have just focused on the fashion, maybe like a few interviews here and there, but like wanting to interview everybody and have all those interviews included in the live stream was a bit too much. I wish they would have done like the interviews as separate videos and just have them be on the Vogue website or their app or whatever. But that was just me, my opinion. But yeah, the Kardashians were just like kind of forgettable this year. All of them, all four of them. Actually, no, I take that back. Kris Jenner really brought it. Or Kris Kardashian, I don't know what last name she's going with these days, but Kris, her outfit was really cool. She looked like she was like a cult leader, which, let's be real, she kind of is. But you know, she's a bad bee. She's a bad bitch. So I like Kris's outfit, but like the other three, like Kim Kardashian's outfit was horrible. It was terrible. And like, I wish you could say it was like cool, but it was not. It was like this bright orange bodycon. What would you call it? She looked like she was about to take off to space. She looked like she was like a second in a Star Trek movie. She looked really bad. I hated her outfit. Or hate is a strong word. I strongly really disliked it. She could have gone with so many beautiful artistic outfits and you choose to wear that. Like, not everything has to be about the shape of your body, Kim. I know that's what you're known for. I know that's like your trend. Like, people know Kim Kardashian for like her bodycon and whatever, but it doesn't always have to be like that every single year. Like, she is a rich ass bitch. She could have like bought any of these amazing like fashion pieces that were really trending on social media this year, such as Shirapelli was a really big fashion house that really took off on social media, especially on Instagram this year, as well as Robert Woon, like I mentioned before. She could have bought any other outfit, and I just think it's atrocious that she opted to do something like that, you know? But anyways, and then Kylie and what's her sister's name? Why am I forgetting everything? Kylie, not Kris. Kendall. That's Kendall. I know Kendall. I know Kendall. I just couldn't remember. Okay. Yeah, Kylie and Kendall were just kind of forgettable because they both wore like very similar dresses. There was like these nude colored dresses, very drapey, pretty but forgettable, you know? Like, they could have just like really knocked it out of the ballpark, and they could have done a whole entire coordinated thing together, like all three sisters, and really just like brought the house down at the Met Gala with their fits, especially if they included Kris Jenner in like that whole outfit scheme, you know? But they didn't. They all went with something different, and I'm sure Kylie and Kendall went to the same person, the same fashion designer, because they look legitimately the same. And yeah, it was they've had better fits. the Jenners have had better Met Gala fits. I will say that. So very forgettable. What else? Am I forgetting something? No, I guess that's it. The fashion was amazing this year. Loved the Met Gala. I do understand the pushback that the strong pushback that they had from the public this year because the Bezos were involved. All I have to say about that is that Jeff Bezos' wife, like her entire face structure, scares me a little bit. I think she needs to let off the shots, the plastic surgery a little bit, just because you could tell, from past pictures of her natural beauty really stood out. She was pretty much like stunning back in her day, right? And I think she can still be, if only she just kind of lets off the injections just a tad bit, and she will look amazing. But yeah, so talked about Kardashians, Beyonce. That's pretty much it. What am I doing? Oh my god, I'm already at 57 minutes. Do I want to talk about anything else? Talked about Mother's Day, Met Gala. Oh, aliens. We're gonna just briefly talk about the alien files that the US government recently released. I would say about a couple of days ago. And it really shocked the world, or at least the American public. People were very wowed by it, but a lot of other people were not so wowed about the recent release of the UFO files. I started seeing the news come from Instagram threads. People were like, wow, like those files are like really something, like those UFO files. But honestly, I clicked on the website. It's a US government website. I forgot what it was called. Arrow. Here, I should look it up. And there is quite a bit on there, and some of it is very interesting. But I would say it's a lot of videos that we have already seen, that were released by these journalists that were pretty much like blacklisted by the US media as being like radical and whatnot, and kind of accept was this like alleged rumor of this whole entire galactic federation. That was something that I initially had not really subscribed to the idea of. That there was like this whole entire galactic federation in the moon, and it consisted of different species of aliens, and each one of the species has their own agenda, and apparently the US government is actually a part of the galactic federation, and they had like the whole moon base over there, and supposedly like the moon was just up there right next to the earth, just so that the aliens could watch us, the humans. That's actually a conspiracy that I heard quite a few years ago. I believe it was in 2023 was when I'm sorry. I think I've heard of this back in 2021, 22, kind of that time. And yeah, that's a concept that I didn't really subscribe to. I didn't really, accept it. But like as time goes by, I'm really starting to think differently. I think there's still some more information that needs to be released, and I know it's going to be released. I know they have the facts. I know they have the evidence. They just are slowly releasing it to the public, as to not really like give us like a strong shock of truth. So yeah, like I said, I still feel like I need more info for me to subscribe to the idea and truly believe that there's an actual galactic federation out there with different alien species that have their own agendas, that some of the aliens are good and some of the other aliens are not. Supposedly there's like the grays, the tall grays, I forgot the name, but they're the most human-like aliens that look like us, but just very fair, very light-skinned apparently. There's like insect-looking aliens. There's the reptilians. It's consistently, they're a race of aliens that are like consistently very popular in folklore and kind of like in the whole UFO speculation type of thing. So we cannot rule out reptilians. Yeah, I know for a fact there's going to be a lot more juicier information that's going to come out when it comes to like aliens and UFOs. Yeah, some people are saying that the reason they're withholding all of the alien stuff is because allegedly people are saying that aliens will come down, and when that happens, they will share technologies with us that are going to benefit humanity immensely, specifically regarding free energy. There's this huge conspiracy that there is like a whole entire like billionaires mafia going around killing all of these scientists that are on the verge or are actually already informed about, or that they have already experimented with free energy. And they're just kind of like knocking all these people down because that would pretty much like destroy these billionaires' power for good over the public. And they don't want that. So some people are speculating we're going to have this alien free energy that pretty much comes from like the thin air that we breathe or something like that. Is that I've been hearing. Some people are saying we're going to have that by 2030. Is that true? I don't know. That's what some of the one specific psychic that she's like pretty legit, I feel, on social media. She's the one that predicted that. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm the optimistic type. I just like to be optimistic about things. I don't like to be scared. I like to just kind of like be prepared and just wait for the information to come out. I know more information will come out. But I can't believe I went on such a long tangent. Arrow UFO Files. The government has this whole website. It's called Arrow, the official website for the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So I think this is the office they created to kind of just like take in all this UFO information and testimony that is out there. All the information is collected, and I think it goes to this what would you call it, agency, Arrow. So you can actually, the quick links are UAP imagery, UAP records, congressional/press products, FAQ, and then you can submit a report at the Arrow website. So this thing is legit. It's an actual government web page, right? And it has a bunch of information about UFOs. Something like this, a website like this, can you imagine if it had existed like even just 5 years ago? People would have, no, maybe not, because the very controversial alien video came out in 2020. So maybe 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was 2016. A website like this would have had the conspiracy theorists like themselves if they had information at their hands like this, like actual unexplained aerial phenomenon proof. It's legit. It's all here. It's a real government website, and they have like different files that you can go into. Like I clicked on like the NASA. So NASA, they have files from the Pentagon accumulated in this website. You really just have to give yourself some time and go down the rabbit hole, because boy, is it a rabbit hole. I quickly found this document. It was like the France version of NASA, and they submitted this whole entire long report of all of like the sightings and UFO proof that they had. They submitted it to like NASA. They had like, there was like a letter in there, and everything was like scanned. Even the folder that the report came in was scanned, and it's all there. It's very, very impressive. The paper keeping of the United States it's really truly impressive. But yeah, and like on the index, it said like, oh, so like the UFO sightings we have, and then page 17, all of the implications of our findings on humankind. Like these were legit actual UFO reports made by the French version of NASA. It's real, guys. The information is real, and this was just one particular instance that I found very interesting. I have not dug deeper into all of this UFO file release, but because it is a lot. It's a lot. Even on the website, it's like, well, Trump said he wants us to release all this information. Considering like the amount of information that we have, and some of it only existing in paper form, it will take us some time, is pretty much what the statement on the website said. I don't know if I can find it, but yeah, like they've accumulated so many instances of like reports. Like they said, some of it only exists in paper because it was probably typed out and printed during the 40s. Because I heard that around the 40s was when they first started like accumulating all of these reports. And obviously 1940s, close to the end of World War II, a lot of experimentation around weapons was happening. So I'm sure the aliens that are out there in hiding or that can visit us, they were definitely very interested in all of that weaponry that was going on during World War II. Because the Nazis, if you watch Nazi documentaries, like the Nazis, obviously they were doing really bad stuff over there, but some of the war machines that they came up with was like blasphemy. It was like insane. So like, you can do that? You did it because you could. Did it have to exist? No. Right? But yeah, they like the Nazis definitely they thought they were going to win the war. I'm not even gonna go into all that, but they definitely had a vision of this like super huge Nazi empire, and they were just creating all sorts of really bad stuff over there. Started with UAPs, ended up with Nazis. Like, I don't know how I jumped from tangent to tangent to tangent, but I will say that considering that the US government is slowly introducing us to evidence of UFO and alien life, what is most likely, and this is what also the people on the internet were saying on socials, the public was really believing that if this UAP information you're releasing to us is in fact real, then probably that big giant alien spaceship that fell in Nevada and the tall aliens that came out of it and scared the shit out of Angel and his family was probably real. That encounter was probably real. And so was the Miami Mall incident with the aliens and people, a lot of reports of people saying they saw portals and aliens coming out of it, like tall black alien figurines. It was not like a solid alien. It was like a very like fluid alien with black thing type. There were a lot of reports. There were a lot of people in that mall. People said that they tried to record, but like something happened, like the phones were glitching out, like iPhones glitching out. Like that doesn't happen, you know? It was just like aliens. And we all saw that video of literally all of Miami-Dade County police cars all lined up down Miami Beach in like kind of a single file line. Like the response to this like mall fight with teenagers by the police was like an overkill. UFO files being released by the US government it's only making the public believe that these other instances, like the Miami Mall portals alien thing that happened around New Year's, was real, and that the alien spaceship that fell in Nevada and that police actually responded to, they had like their whole like dash cam on their uniforms. That was really popular too. That family disappeared like after like the Men in Black showed up to their home. The kid that called, his name was Angel, and he lived with his family. They were renting the home right there. On the phone, like shitting himself. He was so scared. He was like, there's someone outside. There's two figures outside. They're definitely, and on the actual call, he was like, they're definitely not human. And he was so scared. The police actually like went to investigate because the police partner actually saw like the green light come down, which is the only reason the police took Angels' claims like for real. Like the police saw something, and I'm sure like on their actual footage, police footage, they had to have captured something, because it was the Nevada police that released this story. Why would the police release this story to the public if they didn't know something had really gone on? You know what I mean? But anyways, that's like the whole like journalist in me, reporter. I'm thinking I'm a reporter over here. Yeah, I'm excited to see what else we're gonna see in terms of aliens, because I'm a really huge like alien UFO like fanatic. I'm really into all the lore and like the science more so than anything. Like I think like alleged alien tech is super cool. Like what Bob Lazar has talked about, like interacting with like an alien engine, and that you tried your hardest to touch it but you can't really touch it because it's sort of like a magnet. It's just all of the alleged alien tech that people have talked about. I just find it really fascinating and cool. Like I love sci-fi movies and all that. But anyways, we'll keep a lookout for more alien stuff. I feel like there's just so much happening, and I'm just like taking my sweet time to record and whatnot. But honestly, this week has not been my week, if I'm being honest. My hormones were all over the place. It was just like my feminine time of the month, trying to keep it classy. But yeah, I've just been in a bad mood all week, and honestly, I'm glad I waited until that bad mood swing was over, and that I'm actually in a good, happy place now, so that I can just talk with you guys, because it's what I like to do. And I really enjoyed filming this podcast. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I get to just share my ideas out into the world that I usually wouldn't have a chance to had I just stuck to like makeup content only. And honestly, I haven't even been filming makeup content, because ever since I left Sephora, like makeup has always been expensive. But with like tariffs and like inflation going on, like an accumulation of everything has like skyrocketed makeup. Like the last time I was on the Sephora website a couple months ago, I was like, holy fucking shit. Like these skincare products are so expensive. Even the makeup is so expensive, and it's because everything is made like overseas, or put together overseas. You know what I mean? It's just being taxed on top of tax on top of tax. It's just too much. Like I was really taken aback and like baffled by how much like the prices of makeup and skincare has increased at Sephora. Even at Ulta, like L'Oreal, Maybelline products, I'm like, dude, $20 for a Maybelline, like a drugstore foundation? Like you're doing too much. That's a little bit of a stretch. But we'll see if I get back to my really awesome, fun makeup content, because I love doing that. I love filming. I think it's a good time. I'm starting to really enjoy doing my makeup again, because for the longest, especially after I came out of that rut that I was feeling like hopeless, sad, all that, for the longest time I really didn't want to do my makeup. I just saw it as a task, as a chore. It took too long, and I just wanted to get on with my day and not have to focus on creating the perfect winged eyeliner or creating the perfect brow arch with this tiny little pencil. I was just like, bleh! I don't want to do it. Like I'm over it. And I would just do like the quickest makeup and just head out home. But yeah, I feel pretty with my makeup on, and I just feel good. I feel like myself again, you know? So I'm really going to consider if I want to get back to my makeup content and whatnot, but we'll see. Till then, I'm starting to lose my voice because I've just been talking for an hour straight. But yeah, that is the end of the episode. If you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to subscribe before you leave the channel. And if you're watching on Spotify, please consider hitting the follow button so that you can be the first to know when I upload a brand new podcast. Spotify will let you know when I post the next episode. And yeah, I am also on Apple Podcasts, on Audible, pretty much anywhere that you can have a podcast streaming service, I'm there. Again, if you enjoyed watching, don't forget to drop a like, and that is about it. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for sticking until the end. I really appreciate you chit-chatting with me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.